Hi, it's Amanda and Brandon Neely with Grandma's Wealth Wisdom. Obviously, we're not grandma, but we love her time-tested wisdom about leveraging your assets and managing your cash flow. Today, we're going to be talking about early retirement and the number one mistake you could be making if you want to retire early.
So I have a question for you and for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to retire early?
Maybe. I mean, I love what I do, but it would be nice to have the option to work or not work.
So when would that be? Like at age 50?
I mean, the sooner the
40?
better, right?
Yeah, okay. Would you like to have financial independence prior to age 60 if you could?
Right, like choose whether I want to work or not work. That's what financial independence means to me. I'd love to have that.
Awesome. I think so too, right? So did you know that your 401k or your IRA, that it locks up your money until you're 59 and a half, that you can't actually even access that? I mean, you could access it for a loan or something like that, but really,
there's a penalty.
There's a penalty,
yeah.
And you can't access it until you're 59 and a half.
Right,
you know that?
Right. And you can do a loan with a 401k, but you can't do a loan with an IRA even if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So that means financial independence or retiring early, you can't retire early until you're 59 and a half, according to the Internal Revenue Service, right?
Right. Or pay a penalty. Yep.
And then here's another thing. Perhaps you need a liquid emergency fund and you have an emergency before you're 59 and a half. Like, the roof has a big thing that happens and you need a roof repair. By having that money in your 401k, you can't, again, you could take a loan, but you just can't use it, right, for that purpose.
Yeah. So I think it's good to have some kind of liquid emergency or general savings outside of a 401k or an IRA, especially if you want to retire before you're 59 and a half and have access to funds that you can use without any penalty or restrictions. So this is actually one thing that happened with my dad. My dad was 56 years old when I was born. And
wait, 56,
he was old, yeah. And he was basically retired and a stay-at-home dad. My mom was 21 years younger than him and went back to college in her 30s so that she could provide for the family and make enough to support all my brothers and sisters and me and all of that. And it was always tight, but I'm super glad my dad was around to be with me and to teach me things and be involved in my life. And those kind of dividends still pay for me till this day, the things that I learned from him. And I can't imagine if he wasn't able to stay home with me because he had his money locked up until he was 59 and a half, right? And then he'd be retiring when I went to kindergarten, and I wouldn't have had that time with him. Now, you might not be like my dad. You might not want to have a child at 56 years old, but maybe you want to stop working when you're 56 or younger. Wouldn't it be good to have some kind of income and not depend on just your significant other to keep working, right? You want to retire together maybe, and have some options rather than staying at that 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. What if you had some kind of financial strategy that allowed you to write a Dear John letter to your employer when you're 52 or 57
45.
or whatever. Yeah. Now, we read that half of people who are retired were forced to go into retirement. Something like there was a layoff at their company that they had been with for a while and they had a really hard time finding new employment. And so they just decided they're going to retire. Or maybe they had to leave work in order to take care of a loved one. And then it was hard to find work again, so they just are retired. That kind of being forced to retire happens too often. And it happens to people before they're 59 and a half. It happens to them when they're 50, 55, and so on and so forth.
I mean, it could have happened to you when your mom came and lived with us. And luckily, we had the business and we were able to control our schedule. But possibly, you might have not had that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I would have retired. I'd go back to work eventually, but like taking
time.
Right. So how if everyone's money is in 401ks and IRAs, how are they able to pay their bills if they're forced into retirement early? Or if they want to retire early, it's a good thing. Or on the flip side of that, like most people, even when they're 60, in their 401ks and IRAs, a portion, if not most of that money, is still invested in the stock market or in mutual funds that have that money in the stock market, those kind of things. And what if there was a stock market crash when they're 59 and they're planning to retire at 60, have plenty of money, but all of a sudden it's cut almost in half? Or 2/3 of what it was. That happened to so many people in 2008, 2007, 2009, around that time. And they had to keep working, even though they totally thought, I'm retiring in a year, or I'm retiring in 2 years. Some of them are still working today, waiting for those funds to get back to where they were before and be able to support their retirement.
Well,
and what if that happens to you, right? And we don't know where things are going to be in 20, 30 years when we're 60, And
most people's strategy is to be a greeter at Walmart. And I have some news for you. Walmart actually cut those jobs, right? So you can't actually be a greeter at Walmart anymore. So as a lot of people still think that that's going to be their backup plan, well, sorry to say, you can't get that job anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something else.
There lots of people have different ideas of what their backup plan would be if they get laid off from their job and can't find new work, if they have to take time away, take care of a loved one, and then go find work, or if they retire and then there's a stock market crash and they need to go find work again rather than reduce their expenses and eat cat food or something like that. But what if there was a different way to save for early retirement or longer term retirement that wouldn't lock up your money, wouldn't have it be subject to the volatility of the stock market and the next stock market recession that we could go into? What are some of the alternatives to that 401k or IRA? And we're going to talk about 4 of them today. One is just a savings account, right? You put some money aside there that you can use in an emergency, whether it be a temporary one, like a stock market recession, even though those can be a few years, but most of the time they're just a small dip for a time, or a longer term thing like taking care of a loved one. You can have those emergency funds there. But you do like sacrifice some growth. They're not going to maybe grow that much. You can't get very much interest in a savings account these days. Another option that people consider a lot is certificates of deposits, or CDs. And with that, you're committing to a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long it is. And you put the money aside there, and then it's given to you at a rate of return on that money. And then you can reinvest it in in another CD that might have the same or different rate of return, and you just keep doing that. A big problem with those is that it's still locked up for the term of that certificate of deposit, whether, again, that's 1 year or 5 years or whatever. Another thing people do is just keep some cash lying around under their mattress or in a can in the garage or wherever that's their emergency stash. Of course, you're not getting any growth on that money if you've got it hiding away, but it is there for you unless it gets stolen.
And you don't have any hidden.
I do not have any cash hidden in our home. The 4th thing is, wait for it, it's quite a mouthful. It's high early cash value, dividend paying whole life insurance.
Oh, this is where people may cut off or something. I don't know.
Well, so we call it grandma's strategy, and it's not talked about as much today as like your 401k or IRA, but it's still very common, still very popular, and it has that time-tested part to it. It's been around for hundreds of years, helping Americans improve their financial situations. And it's a great place to set money aside, save up for those longer term things. In fact, back in Grandma's day, about half of Americans used this, and they used it to supplement their retirement and what they were going to need at that point. Plus, it's got a death benefit to it as well to help protect your family in case something happens to you prematurely. Full disclosure, this last one, this grandma strategy, is what we specialize in. We've got lots of extra training to help make sure that we use grandma's strategy correctly and the best way for our clients, not the best way for somebody else, including ourselves, right?
Yeah, you want to work with somebody who is specialized or trained in these kind of strategies.
Yeah, so you might be in the place where you hear over and over again, you've got to put money into a 401k or into an IRA. You got to get that employer match. You got to get that tax deduction, whatever they're telling you you got to do this. But look around. How did that work for, say, your parents? If they use that kind of strategy, are they looking forward to a comfortable, safe, secure retirement and the funds for their retirement? Just, kind of goes like grandma would say, if your coworkers jumped off a bridge, would you? Like, if your coworkers are maxing out their 401k, does that automatically mean you should? If your parents did that, does that automatically you should? If that's what your HR person or your tax guy tells you to do, is that automatically what you should do? If you're willing to question those kind of things and evaluate for yourself and your unique situation what you want to do and what you're choosing for your future, we'd love to help you think through that. And we encourage you to take the time to really think through what you're doing for your future. You're the one that's going to live it. It's up to you to choose what you want to happen there.
I do think it's about your goals, reaching your goals, and looking at it's all one wallet, right? If we have all money coming through, we want to make sure that those monies coming through is efficient, and we're not like in a pinch because we thought, well, I'm going to retire at whatever age, and it's all one wallet. How do we maximize those dollars? How do we reach those goals in a way that's going to be efficient and make it happen for real? Not just hope it happens, but how do you make it happen?
Yeah. So if you want more permission for how to challenge conventional wisdom and get back to more time-tested strategies, hit subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a video and you catch every video that we put out there to help you think through the options that you have. It's not one way fits all, but it's finding the right way for you. And to find out our best information, go to grandmaswealthwisdom.com/free. There's a free resource there to help you wherever you're at on your unique financial journey. So thanks for watching and including us as you look for the best options for you and for helping you create that stable financial future where you feel really smart with what you're doing with your money. Until next time, keep watching Grandma's Wealth Wisdom.